No one understood why she chose him. Not the press, not her board, not the guests frozen in silence when she reached across the table and took his hand. Because the man sitting beside her didn't look powerful. He didn't wear tailored suits or command rooms with his voice. He wore a worn jacket, calloused hands, a quiet posture shaped by years of standing slightly to the side. And yet, when the billionaire woman announced her decision, the room went dead silent. Because she hadn't chosen the safest option. She hadn't chosen the richest man in the room. She had chosen the single dad everyone had already dismissed. And the reason she chose him would silence every single one of them by the end of the night. Before we continue, I'd really love to know where you're listening from. Drop it in the comments. If this story is pulling you in, a gentle like truly helps. And if you enjoy stories like this, subscribe and stay with us. Now, let's continue. The first time I met Celeste Hart, I didn't know her name. I just knew she didn't belong in the community center where I was fixing a broken radiator with a wrench older than my daughter. She stood there in heels that cost more than my monthly rent, holding a leather folder, scanning the room like someone who had walked into the wrong life by accident. Her hair was pulled back cleanly. Her posture was precise. Her eyes were sharp, but tired in a way money couldn't erase. She watched me struggle with the pipe for a few seconds before speaking. "You're bleeding," she said. I looked down. She was right. A thin line of red ran across my knuckles. "It happens," I said, wiping my hand on my jeans. She nodded once, as if filing that answer away. That should have been the end of it. A glance, a comment, two people returning to their separate worlds. But she didn't leave. She waited while I finished tightening the valve, waited while I wiped my hands clean, waited like she had something important to say but wasn't sure how to start. "Are you Daniel Reed?" she finally asked. I frowned. "Yes." "I'm Celeste Hart." That name landed heavier than it should have. Everyone knew it. Tech empire, media darling, the woman who made billion-dollar decisions before breakfast. "I know who you are," I said carefully. Her mouth curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Good," she said. "Then you'll understand why what I'm about to ask sounds insane." We sat across from each other in a quiet corner of the center, plastic chairs between us, the smell of old books and disinfectant in the air. She placed the leather folder on the table but didn't open it yet. "I need someone I can trust," she said. I almost laughed. "You're in the wrong building." Her eyes flicked up, sharp. "No, I'm exactly where I need to be." She told me about the pressure first, the board tightening its grip, the investors whispering, the headlines questioning her leadership because she didn't fit the image they wanted to sell. She's brilliant but unstable. She's powerful but alone. They wanted reassurance. They wanted optics. They wanted a story that made them comfortable. "I need a husband," she said, finally opening the folder. "Public, controlled, temporary." I leaned back in my chair, heart pounding harder than it had any right to. "You're joking." "I don't joke about survival." She slid the contract towards me. 6 months, public appearances, strict boundaries, compensation that made my throat go dry. "You don't want someone from your world," I said slowly. She shook her head. "They all want something. Power, access, control." Her gaze settled on me. "You just want to get home to your daughter." That stopped me cold. "My file says you're a single father, widowed, quiet, reliable. You volunteer here twice a week." I stared at the paper, at the neat summary of my life reduced to bullet points. "You don't even know me." She met my eyes steady. "I know you didn't ask to be seen, and you don't perform for attention." I thought of my daughter, of the bills, of the way she tried not to ask for things she needed. "What happens if I say no?" I asked. She closed the folder. "Then I'll find someone else," she said softly. I didn't sign that day. I told her I needed time. She gave me 48 hours. By the time I agreed, I still didn't understand why she had chosen me. I thought it was convenience. I thought it was strategy. I thought it was desperation. I didn't realize the truth until the dinner, until the night she reached for my hand in front of everyone who doubted her, and until I understood that this marriage wasn't meant to protect her image. It was meant to protect something much darker. I didn't see Celeste Hart again for almost 3 weeks. Not at the community center, not in my neighborhood, not anywhere my life usually intersected with people like her. I told myself that was normal, that our meeting had been exactly what it looked like, 2 strangers crossing paths by accident, exchanging a few words and moving on. That was how things usually worked, especially for men like me. Still, I found myself checking the front door more than usual when I arrived at work, listening for unfamiliar heels on concrete floors, watching reflections in glass that didn't belong to me. Nothing. Life went back to its rhythm, morning drop-offs at school, long hours fixing what other people ignored, evenings spent helping my daughter with homework at a kitchen table scarred with years of use. Quiet nights, predictable nights. Then my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. I almost let it go to voicemail. Almost. "Mr. Hayes?" a woman's voice asked when I answered. Calm, professional, not rushed. "Yes." "This is Evelyn Carter. I work with Celeste Hart." I stopped walking. The hallway around me kept moving, people passing by, voices echoing, but suddenly it all felt distant. "She asked me to reach out," Evelyn continued. "Would you be willing to meet with her?" I didn't answer right away. "About what?" I asked. There was a pause. Not uncertainty, calculation. "She believes you may be able to help her with something personal." That word sat heavy between us. "I don't think I'm the person she's looking for," I said. "We believe you are," Evelyn replied gently. "She does, at least." I closed my eyes for a second. "When?" I asked. The restaurant was nothing like the places I usually went. White tablecloths so clean they felt ceremonial, low lighting that made everything look expensive and intentional. Conversations carried in murmurs, not laughter. Celeste was already seated when I arrived. She stood when she saw me, not out of politeness, out of awareness. "I'm glad you came," she said. "So am I," I replied, surprised to realize I meant it. We sat. She didn't start with small talk, didn't ask about the weather or my work. She folded her hands on the table and looked at me directly. "I'm going to be very honest with you, because anything less would be insulting." I nodded. "I need a husband, not in the way you're thinking, not romantically, not emotionally. Structurally." That word again, precise, controlled. "For how long?" I asked. 6 months, she said. "Possibly a year." I let out a breath that might have been a laugh if it had carried humor. "I think you've confused me with someone else." "No," she said quietly, "I haven't." She reached into her bag and placed a thin folder on the table. Didn't slide it toward me, just let it exist between us. "My family controls a trust. It's conditional. Marriage is part of the condition." I didn't touch the folder. I've avoided it for years, focused on work, built something they couldn't ignore, but now they're forcing the issue. "Why me?" I asked. She didn't answer immediately. Because you don't want anything from me, she said finally. I frowned. You don't know me. You know enough, she replied. You didn't ask who I was when we met. You didn't try to impress me. You didn't treat me like a solution. That doesn't mean You're stable, she interrupted. You're grounded. You have a life that exists outside ambition. My fingers tightened against my knee. And you have a daughter, she added. That landed differently. How do you know that? I asked. She didn't flinch. I did my homework, not to invade, to understand. I stared at the folder. Open it, she said softly. I didn't want to, but I did. Inside was a contract, clear, detailed, almost clinical, living arrangements, appearances, boundaries, an exit clause that protected both of us, and compensation, a number that made my chest tighten. This isn't real, I said. No, she agreed, but it has consequences. Yes. I closed the folder. My daughter comes first, always. She would be protected, financially, legally, personally. I studied her face, looking for cracks, for desperation. I found none. Why does this matter so much to you? I asked. She looked away for the first time. Because if I don't do this, I lose control of something my mother built before she died. That was the first time her voice shifted, just slightly. She believed stability didn't mean surrender, Celeste continued. This trust is proof of that, and they're trying to take it from me. Silence stretched. I won't ask you to decide tonight, but I need an answer soon. I stood. So you're asking me to pretend, to lie? Yes. For money? Yes. And when it's over, we separate, cleanly. I thought of my daughter's shoes with holes in the soles, of bills stacked neatly because disorder made them heavier, of a life built on choosing the least risky option. This changes things, I said. Yes, Celeste agreed. That's the point. I looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time in a while, I wondered if this wasn't just her asking me to step into her world, but asking me to protect her from it. I'll think about it, I said. She nodded. I hoped you would. When I left, the city felt louder than before, and for the first time in years, the path in front of me didn't look straight. It looked divided. I didn't tell my daughter about the offer. Not at first. Some things feel too fragile to say out loud before you know what they are, like naming a storm before it forms. I read the contract 3 times that night, once after dinner, once after she went to bed, once again at 2 a.m, when the house was quiet enough to hear the refrigerator hum and the past creep in. It was thorough, almost gentle in how it anticipated failure. No public affection beyond what was expected. No shared bedroom unless required for appearances. No claim to assets. No obligation beyond the timeline. A marriage designed to end. I wondered how many times Celeste had rewritten it, how many lawyers had sanded away emotion until only structure remained. By morning, I still hadn't decided. By afternoon, I got a message. Dinner, tomorrow. My family will be there. No pressure, just information. I stared at the screen longer than necessary. I'll come, I typed back. The lie began before the vows. Celeste's apartment wasn't flashy. That surprised me. I had expected glass walls and art that looked expensive because it was meant to be. Instead, it felt intentional. Clean lines, warm light, furniture that had been chosen, not displayed. She watched me take it in. "Not what you expected," she said. "No," I admitted. "It feels lived in." She smiled faintly. "That's the goal." We stood there awkwardly for a moment, two people about to rehearse intimacy without understanding it. "I should explain a few things," she said. "I should listen," I replied. Her family dinner wasn't just tradition, it was inspection. "They're polite," she said, "until they're not." "What are they looking for?" I asked. She hesitated. "Control," she said finally, "and weakness." I nodded. "I'm familiar with both." She looked at me then, really looked like she was recalibrating something she thought she understood. The house belonged to her father, old money architecture, long drive, short patience. The moment we walked in, the temperature shifted. Her mother's portrait watched us from the wall, sharp eyes, calm mouth, a woman who had learned early that being underestimated was useful. "She would have liked you," she whispered as we passed. "I don't know how I feel about that," I murmured. She almost laughed. Dinner was staged like a performance. Her sister smiled too quickly. Her father asked questions that weren't questions. The man across from me, board member I assumed, studied my hands instead of my face. "Tell us how you met," her father said. Celeste didn't answer. She looked at me. I understood then this was my first test. "At a community center." She noticed I was bleeding. A pause. "Charming," her sister said flatly. Celeste reached for my hand. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't romantic. It was deliberate, and somehow that made it harder to breathe. "You don't look like her usual type," her father said. I met his gaze. "She doesn't look like mine either," I replied calmly. Silence. Celeste squeezed my hand once, a warning or gratitude, I wasn't sure. "And yet," I added, "here we are." The board member smiled thinly. "Marriage does that," he said, "brings unlikely people together." Or forces them, I thought. Dessert came too soon. Questions followed about my work, my income, my plans. I answered honestly, not because I had nothing to hide, but because I wasn't ashamed of what I had. Then her sister leaned forward. "Doesn't it bother you," she asked sweetly, "that Celeste doesn't need you?" The room went still. I felt Celeste tense beside me. I considered my answer carefully. "No," I said. "It comforts me." Her sister blinked. "Why?" "Because wanting someone is different from needing them, and I'd rather be chosen." Celeste's fingers tightened around mine. Her father watched me for a long moment. Then he nodded once. Not approval, acknowledgement. The ending ended without disaster, which I would later learn was its own kind of victory. That night, back in the apartment, Celeste poured 2 glasses of wine. "You handled them well," she said. "So did I replied. She leaned against the counter. "They didn't scare you." "They tried," I said, "but they're predictable." She studied me. "You're not," she said. I didn't know if that was a compliment. "About the bedroom," she added quietly. "We don't have to." "I know. The contract." She nodded. Still, when she turned off the lights later, she paused outside her room. "Good night," she said. "Good night," I replied. The door closed softly. I stood in the dark hallway longer than necessary, not because I wanted her, but because I realized how easily this could stop being pretend. The next morning, my daughter asked why I was wearing a suit. I said, "Big meeting." She nodded, unimpressed. Are you nervous? Yes, I admitted. Good, she said. That means it matters. Children are inconveniently wise. I dropped her off at school and sat in the car afterward longer than usual. Then I did something I hadn't planned to do. I drove back. When Celeste opened the door, she looked surprised. I forgot something, I said. She raised an eyebrow. What? The truth, at least part of it. I stepped inside. My daughter, I continued. She doesn't know yet, and I won't bring her into this unless I'm sure it won't hurt her. Celeste nodded immediately. I would never ask you to. Good, I said, because if she gets attached, I understand, she said softly. I won't play a role with her. That mattered more than I expected. Thank you, I said. As I turned to leave, she spoke again. There's something you should know. I waited. The trust, she said. It's not just about marriage. I turned back. They think I'm incapable of choosing the right people. They think I confuse strength with safety. And you don't? I asked. She met my gaze. I chose you, she said. That should answer your question. I left with that echoing in my chest. By the end of the week, the announcement went public. Engagement photos, carefully staged, carefully distant. The world saw what it wanted, a billionaire woman settling down, a respectable man by her side. No one saw the agreement beneath it. Us. And somewhere between pretending and preparing, something shifted. Not love, not yet, but trust. And that was far more dangerous.
The first night we slept under the same roof, nothing happened, and that somehow made it harder. The guest room had been prepared carefully, fresh sheets, neutral colors, no personal touches, a space designed not to invite anyone to stay longer than necessary. I stood in the doorway with my overnight bag, suddenly aware of how strange this was, a contract marriage that respected distance more than most real ones did. Celeste watched from the hallway. If you need anything, she said, then stopped herself. I mean, if something feels off. I'm fine, I replied. She nodded, hesitated, then went to her room. The door closed softly. I lay awake longer than I expected, not because I was thinking about her body, but because I was thinking about her restraint. People like Celeste were surrounded by noise, attention, demand, and yet she had created a life where silence was protected, even negotiated. That night, I understood something important. This arrangement wasn't about convenience, it was about control. The first public event as her fiancé came sooner than I was ready for. A charity gala, black tie, cameras waiting for the moment we arrived together. Celeste adjusted my cufflinks before we stepped out of the car. You don't have to perform, she said quietly. Just stay close. I can do that, I said. She paused, fingers still at my wrist. Thank you, she said. Not formally, personally. Inside, the room shifted when we entered. Eyes tracked us, conversation slowed, judgment wrapped in polite smiles. I felt it instantly, the unspoken question, why him? Celeste felt it too. I could tell by the way her posture straightened, by the way she didn't lean on me but stood beside me, equal. We moved through the room together, hands touching just enough to signal unity, nothing excessive, nothing false. Then someone said her name with familiarity. Celeste. A man stepped forward, confident, well-dressed, the kind of man who had never been told no and learned to take that personally. Marcus, she said evenly. He looked at me like I was furniture. So this is him, the surprise. Celeste didn't correct him. He's not a surprise. He's my choice. Marcus smiled tightly. Of course, he said. I just assumed. That's your mistake, she replied. He laughed, lightly, as if indulging a joke. "Well," he said, turning to me at last, "welcome to our world." I met his gaze. "I don't think it's mine," I said, "but thank you." The smile slipped. Celeste's fingers brushed mine, not reassurance, warning. The night went on. Donors, board members, old friends who asked questions that weren't about us. I watched Celeste carefully, the way she managed conversations, redirected attention, controlled rooms without raising her voice. She was brilliant and tired. We were near the balcony when it happened. A woman approached, elegant, curious. "You must be the fiancé," she said warmly. "How exciting." "Is it?" I replied before thinking. Celeste's breath caught. The woman laughed. "Fair enough," she said. "So tell me, how does it feel marrying into power?" I didn't answer right away. Celeste watched me, and in that moment I realized something. This was the first time she was letting someone else speak for her. "It feels like responsibility, not access." The woman tilted her head. "Oh? Yes," I continued, "because loving someone who carries this much weight means protecting them from people who only see the shine." The silence was brief. Then the woman smiled, genuinely this time. "Well said," she said, and walked away. Celeste exhaled slowly. "Thank you," she whispered. "For what?" "For seeing me," she said. The words landed heavier than I expected. Later that night, back home, the tension didn't dissolve. It shifted. We stood in the kitchen, the city glowing beyond the windows, both of us holding glasses we hadn't touched. "You didn't have to say that," Celeste said. "I know," I replied. She turned to face me fully. "That could have complicated things," she added. "Did it?" I asked. She considered that. "No," she admitted. "It clarified them." She took a step closer. "Not intimate, intentional. This arrangement," she said slowly, "was supposed to be clean, controlled. And now?" I asked. "And now," she said, "I don't know where the line is anymore." I felt it too, that quiet crossing, the one you don't notice until you're already on the other side. "I won't cross it unless you ask me to," I said. She searched my face. "And if you don't?" she asked. "Then I'll stay right here, exactly where I agreed to be." Something in her expression softened. "That's what scares me," she said quietly. "Why?" "Because most people don't know how to stay without taking." I nodded. "I do," I said. "I've been doing this for years." Her eyes flicked away. "I don't want to hurt you," she said. "You won't," I replied. She looked back at me then, really looked. "You're very sure," she said. "No," I admitted. "I'm just honest." The silence stretched. Then she did something unexpected. She reached out and hugged me, not tight, not lingering, just long enough to be real. And when she pulled away, something fundamental had changed. The next morning, my daughter met Celeste for the first time. I hadn't planned it, but life rarely asks permission. The school called, fever, early pickup. I brought her home. Celeste was in the living room, laptop open, coffee untouched. She stood immediately. "Oh, hi." My daughter looked at her, then at me. "Is this the lady from the pictures?" she asked. Celeste froze. I swallowed. "Yes," I said carefully. "This is Celeste." My daughter nodded. "You're very tall," she said thoughtfully. Celeste smiled. "So are you," she replied gently. My daughter considered that. "Do you like dogs?" she asked. Celeste blinked. "Yes," she said. "Very much." "Good," said my daughter, "because we want one." We all stood there for a moment. Then Celeste laughed, not politely, not carefully, but freely. And in that sound, I saw it. Not the billionaire, not the strategist, just a woman realizing she'd stepped into something she hadn't planned for, something alive. That afternoon, Celeste canceled 2 meetings. She sat on the floor with my daughter and helped her color. I watched from the doorway. And for the first time since this began, The danger didn't feel external, it felt internal, because pretending was no longer the problem. Stopping might be. The first crack didn't come from Celeste. It came from the board. I was waiting in the car when her phone rang. She didn't answer it right away. She stared at the screen like she already knew what the voice on the other end would say. Then she sighed and picked up. "Yes," she said calmly. "Yes, I understand. No, that won't be necessary." A pause. Her jaw tightened. "I won't explain my personal life to people who only value it when it serves them." Another pause. "Then you'll have to decide whether this company survives without me." She ended the call. The silence afterward was sharp. "They're nervous," she said finally. "About you." I didn't flinch. "That's not new," I replied. She smiled faintly. "They think you're a weakness." I met her eyes. "And what do you think?" She didn't answer right away. "That," she said slowly, "is what they're afraid of." The emergency dinner was scheduled for that night. Same house, same table, same people. Different stakes. "They want reassurance," Celeste said as we dressed. "Not affection, certainty." "And what do they expect from me?" I asked. She hesitated. "To prove," she said carefully, "that you're temporary." The words landed harder than I expected. "And if I don't?" I asked. Her voice dropped. "Then they'll make sure I regret choosing you." We drove in silence. The house felt colder this time, less curious, more hostile. Her father barely greeted us. Her sister didn't smile at all. Marcus was there. Of course he was. He stood when we entered, his expression smooth, controlled. "Celeste," he said, "good of you to come." She didn't sit until I did. That didn't go unnoticed. Dinner began with politeness sharp enough to cut. They talked numbers, market shifts, risk exposure. Then Marcus leaned back and looked directly at me. "So," he said, "let's address the obvious." Celeste stiffened. "I don't see the need," she began. "I do," Marcus interrupted. "We're family here. Transparency matters." He turned to me. "You were hired." He didn't ask, he declared. "Before this engagement, correct?" The room went still. Celeste's hand found mine under the table. I felt it trembling. "Yes," I said calmly. "And you still work for the company?" he pressed. "Yes." "And you now share a personal relationship with the CEO?" Celeste inhaled sharply. "Yes," I said again. Marcus smiled. "That's a conflict of interest at best." Celeste leaned forward. "This is not—" "Let him finish," her father said quietly. I nodded once. "I understand how it looks, but I didn't ask for this arrangement." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "No?" "No," I continued. "I agreed to it because I was asked, honestly, directly, with terms." Silence. "Terms?" her sister echoed. Celeste closed her eyes. I felt it then. The shift. The moment where pretending could no longer protect anyone. "You didn't tell them," I said softly. She didn't answer. Marcus leaned in. "What terms?" he asked. I looked at Celeste. She met my gaze, just once, and nodded. "The engagement," I said, "was contractual." The word landed like a dropped plate. Her father stood. "You turned my daughter's marriage into a business deal?" "No," I said. "Your daughter turned my stability into one." Celeste's head snapped toward me. I kept going. "It was designed to reassure investors, to present unity, permanence, control." Her sister laughed sharply. "You married him to save the company?" she asked Celeste. Celeste stood.
I married him, she said, voice steady, because I was told I couldn't be trusted to choose correctly. She looked at her father. At my age, she continued, with everything I've built. Her father didn't speak. Marcus did. So this man, he said, gesturing at me, is a prop. I met his gaze. No, I said, I was leverage. That's when it happened. Her father laughed, not kindly. You see, he said, this is why it was a mistake. Celeste's voice shook. No, she said, this is why it was necessary. I pushed my chair back and stood. I think this is where I leave, I said calmly. Celeste turned to me. Don't, she whispered. I looked at her. Not the SEO, not the strategist, the woman who had invited my daughter into her home, who had laughed on the floor with crayons. I won't be the reason you punish me, I said. You're not. They are. Marcus stepped closer. You're expendable, he said quietly. You always were. I smiled then, not out of confidence, out of clarity. Maybe, I said, but not disposable. I turned to Celeste. This was your dark reason, and I understand it. She shook her head, tears in her eyes. No, she said, it was supposed to end before it hurt. I nodded. Contracts often do, I said. People don't. I left. That night Celeste didn't come home. Neither did I. I stayed awake staring at the ceiling, wondering how something that began as an arrangement had ended up rewriting everything I thought I was protecting. My daughter slept peacefully in the next room, unaware, and that mattered. The next morning my phone buzzed. One message. They called an emergency vote. Another followed. I may lose everything. I typed back slowly. You won't lose what matters. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Then, I don't know how to choose anymore. I closed my eyes. Neither did I.
The city didn't care that everything was falling apart. Traffic moved, lights changed, people hurried past each other carrying plans that still made sense. I sat at the small kitchen table, my phone face down, my daughter eating cereal across from me like nothing in the world had shifted. Are you sad? She asked suddenly. I looked up. No, I said honestly. Just thinking. She nodded, satisfied with the answer only children accept, and went back to her cereal. That was when the weight of it hit me. I could survive losing Celeste. I could not survive letting my daughter see me lose myself. So I made a decision, not for love, not for money, for dignity. I typed one message. Whatever happens today, I won't fight your family for you, but I won't lie for them either. I didn't wait for a response. The board meeting was already in progress when Celeste walked in. She hadn't slept. It showed, not in weakness, but in clarity. They expected her to beg, to negotiate, to soften. She didn't. She stood at the head of the table and let the room settle. You're voting to remove me, she said calmly. Let's not pretend otherwise. No one spoke. Marcus leaned forward. We're voting to protect the company, he corrected. Celeste smiled faintly. You're voting to punish me, she said, for choosing something you couldn't control. Her father avoided her eyes. She took a breath. I built this company, she continued, not alone, but with vision, with restraint, with the refusal to become the kind of leader who confuses fear for wisdom. Marcus scoffed. And your solution was a fake marriage? Celeste didn't flinch. My solution, she said, was honesty disguised as structure. She turned to the screen behind her and pressed a button. A document appeared. A resignation letter. Gasps circled the room. I won't fight this vote, she said. I won't stay where trust is conditional. Her father stood abruptly. You're throwing everything away." "No," she said, "I'm keeping the only thing that matters." She looked directly at Marcus. "You taught me that power is fragile," she said. "Thank you." She signed the letter and walked out. I was packing my daughter's lunch when the door opened. Celeste stood there, not composed, not armored, just human. "I resigned," she said. I nodded. "I know." She stepped inside slowly. "They didn't expect it," she said. "They thought I'd fight." "I thought you might," I said. She shook her head. I was tired of winning by losing myself. My daughter peeked around the corner. "Hi," she said to Celeste. Celeste knelt instantly. "Hi," she replied softly. My daughter studied her. "You look different," she said. Celeste smiled gently. "I feel different." That seemed to satisfy her. She went back to her room. Silence settled between us. Not awkward, honest. "I didn't come to ask you to stay or to forgive me." I waited. "I came to tell you the truth. The contract was the excuse. Control was the habit. Fear was the reason." She swallowed. "But you," she said, "were never the plan." I met her eyes. "And now?" I asked. "Now," she said, "I don't know what comes next." I nodded. "Neither do I." She looked at me carefully. "I won't ask you to choose me," she said, "not after everything." I thought of the gala, the crayons on the floor, the way she had protected my daughter without knowing she was doing it. "I already did," I said quietly. Her breath caught. "But," I added, "this time there's no contract." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "I wouldn't want one." The news broke by afternoon. Headlines framed it as scandal, collapse, recklessness. Celeste didn't read them. She sat on the living room floor with my daughter, helping her build a puzzle. I watched from the doorway, not as a man who had gained something, but as a man who finally stopped bracing for loss. That night, after my daughter was asleep, Celeste stood by the window. "I don't know how to be ordinary," she said. "I do. It's overrated." She laughed quietly. "Will you teach me?" she asked. I stepped closer. "I think we teach each other." She didn't reach for me, neither did I. We stood there close enough to feel warmth, far enough to keep choice intact. That was new and precious. Months later, the company survived. So did she. Not as CEO, as founder emeritus, advisor, woman with options. I went back to work. She didn't interfere. We moved slowly, intentionally. Some nights we talked until the city slept. Other nights we sat in silence, learning that peace didn't need commentary. One evening, my daughter asked a question that changed everything. "Is Celeste staying forever?" Celeste froze. I knelt beside her. "What do you think?" I asked. My daughter shrugged. "I like her. She listens." Celeste's eyes filled. I smiled. "That sounds like a good reason." The contract sat in a drawer, unsigned now, unnecessary. What replaced it wasn't a promise, it was something harder. Trust, chosen daily. And that was enough, because the darkest reason hadn't been the deal, it had been the fear of choosing without protection. And once that fear was gone, everything else followed.